everybody, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Zoe, and today I thought I would show you guys how to create your very own save file. I've seen this going around on YouTube in the Sims community, whether it's recently or kind of older videos. They're popping up on my For You page again, and to be honest, I love watching them. I love seeing the different ways everybody creates save files, and I love just being able to grab inspiration from other people. So today I thought I would show you guys how I create my own. So if you clicked on this video, you either want to know how to create a save file, how I create a save file, or you're probably wondering what is a forever save file. And today I'm going to answer all of those questions for you. Let's start with the simple one. What is a forever save file? The term comes from, I believe, Minecraft. At least that's from the research that I've gathered. I went and watched back like a few videos, and apparently it started from forever worlds in Minecraft, which I used to have one of my own, but I got a new computer and I completely forgot to back up my saves, so I no longer have that world anymore, which is really upsetting, but it's my fault. And basically, the forever save file is just a long-term save file that you create every family in. So every sim family that you play with and every build you make, everything like that basically just goes into one save file called your forever save file. Some people title it their Sims 4 forever save file, but I kind of name mine. My forever save file is called the solstice file, just because that's kind of the whole like theme of everything that I have going. I have my solstice let's play, which if you haven't watched that, you should go check it out right now. I promise you won't regret it. Now that that's out of the way, let's actually start our save file. When you open the Sims 4 game, it'll look a little bit like this. Obviously, the family that's going to be shown here is going to be your most recent family, or if this is your first time playing the game, you obviously won't have a sim here. Once you load into the game, it'll either say resume game, load game, or new game. And if this is your first time playing, I believe it just says new game. So obviously, you'll click on new game. Then obviously you're met with the create a sim page, and you can either create from a story or say no thanks. And sometimes I do use the create a story option. I am not a very creative person, so to me it is kind of really helpful to just kind of randomize how it goes and see what kind of sim you get. I think it's fun for sims that I don't play as, and maybe it's even more fun and kind of challenging when it is a sim that you end up playing with, whether it's for a legacy or just for fun. However, I'm going to say no thanks, and I'm just going to bring in my sim self. Obviously, it doesn't look exactly like me, but once you have your sim created however you want, you will then press the check mark and you'll press play. And then obviously you'll confirm and press play again. If you have the seasoned expansion pack, it will obviously ask you which season you want to start in. Just to make things easy, I am going to start in summertime, and then you're going to press continue. And then you are met with a screen full of worlds. My next suggestion would be to just select one world and start solely based off of that world. I'm going to select Willow Creek just because I do have a version of Willow Creek that I have already added all of the households and done how I want it. So you'll come into Willow Creek, okay, you'll place your sim, confirm, and then it'll take you through a loading screen, and then you're just going to go right back to manage worlds. Once you are back on the screen, you will go to manage households up here in the corner, and basically you're going to go to other households. You can either delete all households manually from right here, or you can just focus on one world. Usually when you're filtering, you do have to make sure some settings are selected. I just start with these 4, and then I search through here and I look for obviously Willow Creek, which is right here. You can either delete sims or you can give them makeovers. However, I have made over versions of all of these sims already, so I'm not going to worry about that. And then the next step would be to go into each house and bulldoze it at the top of your screen. And you would just do that manually for each lot. That's why I suggest doing one world at a time, because it is much easier to bulldoze a lot and place a lot rather than bulldoze every lot and then go place every lot in other worlds. However, there is a way to have a completely empty save file from the very beginning. There is a save file already out there called the Seriously's Blank Save, which obviously is just every world but blank, and it will give you every single world. However, I have read and seen that it does kind of lead to certain corruptions in your game, and I think the newest update that just recently came out on the 26th, The Sims is trying to work on corrupted saves. However, I do suggest just doing it manually because that's how I've always done it, but there's nothing wrong with using a pre-made save, and I will link this one down in the description box below. I just went in and I completely bulldozed every single lot. I usually just keep my starter sim just kind of out of the way. You can take your sim and you can evict the household so that you now have no sims living anywhere whatsoever in this world. And then you can go in Canva or Google Slides, and basically what you're going to do is you're just going to screenshot this page right here, and then you're just going to take the screenshot and you're going to put it over in like Google Slides, Photoshop, or whatever you want, and you're just going to plan exactly how you want your world to look. I have one in Canva, so this is my setup. It basically just kind of says what everything is, and then I have these little icons down here in the corner that say whether it's done or if it's in progress. I already have a save file where my Willow Creek is done, but once you get to this spot and you have your planned file and where you want everything, you're basically just gonna go in and you're gonna go to open the gallery, or you can press F4 on your keyboard, and then you're gonna make sure you utilize these tabs over here. You can select all content, do most popular, category lots, and if you want to, you can of course include custom content, and I'm going to use the hashtag Willow Creek. And then now you are met with all kinds of Willow Creek houses, or houses that people have created and meaning to be put in Willow Creek. So for example, this one is the Movers and Shakers gym, and someone has renovated it to look completely different. And what you can do, you can favorite the lot, or you can save lot to my library, and then once it is kind of dimmed green like this, it'll then go straight to your library. It'll be put right here in the most recent slot, or you can go in and just automatically place it. And I'm gonna put it right here where Movers and Shakers was. Then once it's placed, you can just basically do that with all of your other lots. Sometimes it will show up with this notification here. The lot placed was created using the move objects cheat. As a result, some objects may be located in positions that aren't inaccessible to your sims. All that you have to do is just follow these instructions here. Press Ctrl-Shift-C to open the cheat code, type in bb.moveobjects, and press enter. And then basically, if you don't want to do it that way, you can go in and you can select your lot. So this one is a Magnolia Blossom, and then at the top, it'll say the name, what kind of lot it is, the lot size, and how much the lot costs. This one is a 50 by 50. And then you can open the gallery and you can go over here to size, and you can go all the way down and select 50 by 50. You can just literally select any of these lots here. So if you wanted it to be a mansion, go ahead and place it. If you wanted it to be a park, go ahead and place it. We are back on Tumblr, and if you're curious as to why, it is because there are a bunch of creators on Tumblr that don't post their builds to the gallery, but they will post them on Tumblr because they use custom content or something like that. And all you have to do is type in hashtag Sims4builds, and then once you search that, it is going to show you so many different lots. At the top, it will usually suggest creators for you. However, I have a list of a few that I really love. I love getting builds from these creators here, from Jessicapie, Pixelplayground, Raya28, and Captain-silvera. Those are my favorite. Sometimes they'll have specific worlds for their stuff to go in, and I do usually just put them there. However, it is however you want your game to look. I went ahead and jumped into my personal save file that I created on my own time. This is my Solstice save file, which is kind of a tongue twister to say. This is basically the concept that I had for my Willow Creek. But if you were to want to add in your own Sims, it is going to be the exact same way as adding a build. You will just either press the house and create a new household, or you will just press the create new household button in the bottom corner. It'll take you to the create a sim page. And then instead of doing hashtag Willow Creek or something like that, you can literally just go in and do households over here in the corner, and then again you can customize it however you want. You can include custom content. You could do a family of 2 to 3 sims or even 7 to 8 sims, and you can do popular now, most popular, or if you wanted to use the hashtag, you can just use a hashtag of any kind of creator that you want to do. I personally like using hashtag daytownies and also hashtag MLS townies. For this next segment, I basically just want to kind of go over game settings and mods that I really enjoy. So for the first part, we have game settings. You basically have your pause menu, which I'm sure if you play The Sims, you know what this menu looks like by now. And you're just going to click this button, game options, and you can come over here to gameplay. These are the settings that I keep on my game pretty much all the time. Obviously, I have full autonomy. I allow romantic invites and requests, which you can decline if you want to. And you can do friendly invites and requests, automatic breakups. You can disable autonomy for selected sims, disable caregiver autonomy, and you can auto-age played households, auto-age unplayed households. But you basically can just kind of choose whatever you want. Maximum sim count, I need to change it, but right now I just have it at 80. Once you have a bigger save file, this should be set to at least 150. And then for this new tab here, you have auto saving. This is for each game, each file. And for this one, I haven't touched anything yet, but basically I want real time for 30 minutes. In-game auto save daily midnight. That just means it's going to update every midnight in your game. And then allow auto save when exiting build mode. I cannot stress how many times I've forgotten to save after build mode, so this is honestly a life changer. Then you can go into environment and you can change your lunar cycle if you have werewolves. If you have seasons, you can change your season length. If you have a snowy escape, you can change like thunderstorms and icy conditions. And in pack settings, you can kind of change everything depending on what packs you have. And then that's kind of all you really have to worry about is those main settings right there. But now I want to mention a few of my favorite mods. So I have the MC Command Center mod, UI cheats, timelines, RPO, and realistic childbirth mod. MC Command Center is really gonna be your best friend with this game. You can edit anything you want. You can change their age, you can delete them, you can move them, you can copy and paste their outfits. You can really kind of do whatever you want, but I am going to show you how to change your lifespan on MC Command Center. So in order to use this section, you do have to have a computer. You're just going to click on the computer, you're going to click MC Command Center, and you're going to choose MCCC settings, and you are going to do age settings, and you are going to set age span duration. Obviously, you're going to choose whichever one you want, whether it's cat, dog, horse, or human. Once you go in, you can just click any of them. You can choose short, normal, or long. And once you click it, you're going to set your duration for whichever category you want. Say you want to change your teen default date. EA default is 21, but say you want them to be teenagers for 30 days instead, you would simply just type 30 and then you would press OK. I, however, don't want mine to change at all, so I'm not going to mess with these settings at all. So let's say you want your Sims to be an elder for 200 days. Okay, you can make that happen. The maximum value is 4,000. You could choose 4,000 days if you really wanted to. If you just don't want your Sims elder to die ever, 4,000 days should be plenty. Another really helpful thing, I think, if you like playing with big families in your game, another thing you can do in MC command settings is you can go down to gameplay settings, and then you can find the tab that says maximum household size, and you can have either default, which is 8 Sims, or you can honestly have 100 Sims if you really want. I'm sure your face icons would be tiny, but if you really wanted it, you could. Another mod that I literally cannot live without is UI cheats. This is basically just going to be everything UI wise. So if you say you had once that you didn't want or you didn't like, you can right click and complete it, or you can just re-roll it, which it'll then just bring you a completely different whim, and bam, you'll have your reward. And if you have seasons, you can right click and you can change the season to whatever you want. You can change the weather to be sunny, cloudy, whatever you want. There's just so many things you can do with UI cheats. You can set your money, bits, pieces, all of it just from right clicking. You can come over here and you can cheat your needs so easily. And if you have watched any of my videos, you would know I use the heck out of this button. These next few mods that I want to talk about are kind of family mods. So the next one is called Timelines. I currently don't have this mod installed in my game. I don't have all of the pieces for it since the update. I did just recently update, I think yesterday. I haven't fully reinstalled all of my mods, but this is the Timelines mod by Ellie Simple. And basically with this mod, it is going to turn your Sims to have certain ages. So your age categories are infants, which are going to be 1 to 11 months old. Toddlers are 1 to 4 years old. Children are 5 to 12 years old. Teenagers are 13 to 19. Adults are 20 to 24. And then adults are in 2 categories. So the subcategory would be early adulthood, which is 25 to 39. And late adulthood or middle age, which is 40 to 59. And elders is 60 to 75 years. So you can just check off any age that you want. So say you have a really late child, but you don't quite want them to be 12 years old, you can go in and cheat it, and it can literally be anywhere from 5 to 12. And then they will get a little buff here on the side, and you'll get like certain buffs depending on. The next mod suggestion that I have is the RPO mod, which is Relationships Pregnancy Overall. This is basically the mod description, so this is going to show you everything you need to know, the required core library, and which options that you want to have, and you can remove anyone that you don't want. But it basically just kind of overhauls your relationships with families and friends, and it's just really useful. It's very realistic too, which it does correlate with a different mod, which is called the Realistic Childbirth mod. And this one, it is gonna be all things childbirth. Each one of these blogs kind of has instructions, so it will overhaul the pregnancy test, and you can look at the results with or without your partner. You can choose birthing options. You will be able to see if your sim wants to have kids or if your sim doesn't want to have kids. You can basically see anything that has to do with pregnancy in this game. So you can have a C-section, you can have a home birth, or you can have just a regular pregnancy at the hospital, which I find to be really cool and super realistic, and sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. But yeah, it is a very cool mod, and I think all of the like family mods are really useful in this game. So as you can see here with my sim, this is Haley Bateman, and it says here she does not want to have a child right now. You can shift click on her and you can go in until you find childbirth settings, and then you can basically enable or disable anything you want. So she can remove dilation, which means she'll never have to worry about dilation when she goes to the hospital. It's just simple things like that that I think are really cool and really neat to have in the game. The last thing that I want to talk about is basically creating base families. I've seen people who have Sims that own country clubs, and it's just realistic to have families like that. I live in a small town, so you obviously are always going to have those families that are really popular in the area, and you have like those different dynamics, and it's really important that you include those in The Sims as well, because it just makes the game feel more realistic. And with that, you can have families who hate each other. You can have drama with your teenagers and your children at school, or even your adults and family members. You could have a grandma who absolutely hates her grandchild but loves her other grandchild from the other side of the family. You could have families that are having secret affairs that some members don't know about. It's really just about storytelling and how you want your game to feel, how you want it to look. In the end, it all comes down to you and how you want it. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about is the calendar. When you come into the calendar, you can come over here and you can filter items through holidays, events, festivals, birthdays, work and school days, vacations, and favorites. So say you literally just want to see when your Sims birthdays are, any holidays that are happening, and that's it. You can simply just filter through those and bam, now all I can see is New Year's Eve, Rebate Day, Valentine's Day, and Harvest Fest. So you can come in here and you can add holidays on whatever day that you want. And you can just select add holiday and you can choose an icon. I have a mod that adds more icons than you're like given in the game. So I have a bunch. Any activities or traditions that you want to do. I also have a mod that adds more of those, and you can choose the name, you can choose the decoration theme, you can choose whether you have a day off of work or school or not, and you can easily come in here and you can cancel the holiday and you're just gonna delete it. Bam, it's gone. You don't even have to worry about it ever again. With all that being said, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope it was helpful for you. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you get notified every time I post a new video. Share this video with your friends, family, and pets, and I'll see you guys in my next video, whether it's a speed build, a let's play, or anything else gaming related. Bye everybody!